Hey guys, what's up? It's Charlie here, and today we're going to be looking at 10 athletes caught cheating at competition. We all cheat on things like school tests and games of Monopoly. But what about cheating in sports? These are professionals who disgraced themselves by cheating during competition. From final games to the Olympics even, these athletes have no shame. Before we get into it, why not subscribe and press that notification bell too. Coming in at number 10 is Tonya Harding. We're used to things like doping or tripping up your opponent when we think about cheating in sports. But what we don't think of, unless we're psychopaths, is hiring a hitman. Well, that's exactly what American skater Tonya Harding did. She wanted a spot on the American skating team as the Olympics were coming up. But it was between her and another skater called Nancy Kerrigan. Afraid that Nancy may be chosen and not her, she hired a hitman to seriously injure Nancy so she could no longer skate. However, various things went wrong and people found out, meaning her plan didn't totally work. And neither did her cover-up. She was exposed for this publicly and was called the most evil skater in the world by the media. Many called for her to be arrested, but this didn't happen surprisingly. But what did happen is that Tonya was not allowed to compete in the Olympic Games while Nancy was. I guess that's sort of karma, but it left a lot of people thinking that
she has to go to jail.
Next up is Marion Jones. At one point in time, this American track and field star was regarded as one of the best sportswomen in America. At the 2000 Sydney Olympics, she won 2 bronze and 3 gold medals. And she was so good, she actually set a world record for the number of medals won by a woman at a track and field. However, during her prime, there was the occasional rumor of steroid use. But because these rumors happen all the time and Marion always denied them, the rumors never got much credit. And she never failed any tests, which meant she must have been clean, right? Well, not exactly. You see, it was later found out by investigators that she'd used steroids months before the Olympics, and it was even suspected by some that she'd tampered with the tests. She let the country down and had to give an emotional and embarrassing press release after this scandal hit the headlines. Not only did she have to return all of her gold and bronze medals, but she also was sentenced to 6 months in prison. Some say this was too much, but then again she did disgrace the whole of America with her cheating. So did she deserve half a year in prison or not? What do you think? Next up is Dora Ratjen. This one is going back a little, but trust me, you have to hear this story. Dora Ratjen was a well-respected female high jumper. She won medals for female high jumping in the 1936 Olympic Games, and she even won a gold medal for the women's high jump at the European Athletic Championships. But not only that, Dora broke the world record. But a little while later, it was revealed that Dora had a secret that meant she had an advantage over all the other women. That was that Dora was actually a man. You see, there was a confusion when he was born, so he was raised as a girl. Dora realized he was different and probably a guy when he was a teenager, but he was already into sports, so he decided to keep living as a girl as it was helping his high jumping. When he was found out, he was arrested but later released. However, he did have to change his name to Heinrich and return all of his medals. His name was also removed from all the history books, records and plaques, and he was banned from sports. Wow, a famous sports person changing genders. Is anyone else getting really strong Bruce or Caitlyn Jenner vibes? Next up is Cameron van der Burgh. This South African swimmer became famous during the 2012 London Olympic Games. He swam the men's 100-meter breaststroke final in 58.46 seconds, breaking a world record. And for this, Cameron earned his country a gold medal. But after pressure from other athletes and the media, Cameron admitted he cheated. He'd taken extra dolphin kicks to make him faster and win. No, dolphin kicks aren't slang for some kind of substance. Instead, it's a kick swimmers do to increase their speed. Olympic swimmers are only allowed to do one of these to make them go faster. But after looking closely at the underwater footage, it was revealed that Cameron had done 3. Surprisingly, he wasn't banned from sports and didn't even have to return his gold medal or world record. Instead, the Olympics actually blamed themselves, saying they would improve their underwater cameras to make sure no athletes cheated again. Do you think Cameron getting off easy is a good thing, or do you think he should be punished like some of the other athletes on this list? Next up is Russia. It's not often you get an entire country busted for cheating in sports, but somehow Russia managed it. In 2015, all the Russian athletes at the Sochi Winter Games were excluded for use of steroids. But that's not all, it was actually with the help of the Russian government. As a result, the country was banned from all world sporting events, including the Olympics. Over 50% of Russian athletes were later busted in 2016 for doping, and it was discovered that some urine samples were tampered with by the Russian government. Russia was furious, and many didn't agree with the ban, as around 100 Russian athletes were found to be innocent. Russia doesn't accept the ban and instead made their own version of the Olympic Games. I wonder if shirtless horseback riding will be an event. Next up, we have 2008 Renault F1 team. Formula One racing is exciting, but it's also plagued with past stories of cheating. But the 2008 Renault team really takes the cake. During the 2008 Grand Prix in Singapore, Nelson Piquet Jr., a driver for the team, crashed his car on purpose. This caused the safety car to be deployed, slowing down the other teams. and this resulted in his teammate Fernando Alonso winning the race. Because of the easily preventable car crash, an investigation was soon launched, and it was revealed to the public how the team had cheated. After this, the team was suspended and the leader was banned from F1 racing. As I said, cheating in F1 isn't exactly uncommon when compared to other sports, but very few cheaters actually plan out so tactically how they're going to fix the race. What made this cheat even worse is that it could have actually put Nelson in danger as he crashed his car on purpose. I guess this shows some people really will do anything to win. Next up is Joe Niekro. One of the hardest baseball positions to play is the pitcher. You have to have some serious throwing power and be very precise. But for one MLB pitcher named Joe Niekro, this was not enough. At a game against the Los Angeles Angels, Joe kept a nail file in his back pocket. Then whenever he was about to pitch a ball, he would misshape the ball by filing it down. This went on for a while until the umpire noticed something odd about the ball and went to confront Joe about it. Joe pleaded innocent to the umpire, but he must have forgot that the MLB is filmed for TV. This is because he was caught on camera trying to get rid of the evidence by throwing the file onto the ground. Cameras and the umpire caught this, and commentators and the fans at home went wild. Joe was banned from the MLB and was even fined. Some say he's the most evil man in baseball as he cheated in such an obvious way. Well, it's kind of ironic to think that his slyness was outdone by the sports cameraman. Bad luck, Joe, but on the bright side, I bet you have great nails. Next up is Rosie Ruiz. You may not have heard of this woman because she's not a professional athlete, but she still made headlines back in 1984 for finishing first in the Boston Marathon. She was unknown and everyone thought she was a champion who'd come out of nowhere. What's even more amazing is that after the race she wasn't even sweating or out of breath. And the fact that she wasn't tired at all was picked up by the media. However, it was soon found out that the reason she wasn't tired was because Rosie had totally cheated. She rode the subway most of the way and then just ran the last few yards of the race to finish first. She then crossed the finish line with hundreds of people cheering her on, unaware that she was a cheat. As a result, she was removed from records and many pro runners actually came out bashing her in the press. Most athletes cheat for their country or prize money, but you don't get any of that with a marathon. Maybe Rosie just really loves to win. Next up, we have Spanish basketball team. This is such an awful and obvious case of cheating. We all know that cheating is always immoral, but the Spanish basketball team really takes the cake with this one. In 2000 at the Sydney Paralympics, Spain won the gold medal for disabled basketball, but they had a secret advantage over the other team. That was that the team wasn't actually disabled and was faking it. The team was so good, their coach actually told them to not play as good, otherwise people might suspect something. This is obviously such a horrible thing to do simply to get a win. Luckily, the scandal was exposed and the entire team and their coach were banned from any sporting events, including the Olympics. And of course, any Paralympics too. Some people actually called for the arrest of the Spanish team's coach who did this. And many protests from disabled groups in Spain were furious about this happening. But despite all the public outcry, no one was arrested, despite submitting fraudulent documents, which is a crime. It takes a special kind of nasty to take advantage of other people's disabilities purely for your team to get a gold medal. Kind of reminds me of that South Park episode where Cartman fakes a disability to join the Special Olympics and wins. Coming up next is Ben Johnson. This man brought shame to America in 1988. In the 100-meter run, he broke a world record and won a gold medal for America. However, after a urine sample, it was found he was heavily doped. He was forced to give back his medals and his world record was removed. And this also opened a discussion about a string of other incidents and caused the media and public to question all of Ben's accomplishments. Ben retired from sports in general a few years after the scandal. The reason why this hit home so much was because Ben was the face of American Olympic sports for quite some time. Many sports fans today blame him for making the US look bad, and he's now one of the most hated men in sports. Do you think his punishment was a little harsh or not enough? Remember kids, cheaters never win. Unless they don't get caught, then usually they do win. But one thing's for sure, all of these athletes brought shame to their country and themselves. Unless they're Russia, then the entire country brought shame to the entire country. We think of sports as very glamorous, but it's crazy to see what some people get away with and what some people clearly don't get away with. And with all these insane scandals involving some high-profile names, it makes you wonder what's going on today. I mean, Usain Bolt claims he eats chicken McNuggets before a race, but who really knows what's inside those chicken McNuggets? I'm just kidding, Usain. You are one fast man. Check out the poll in the top right corner to vote for the biggest cheat. And guys, definitely check out my new channel, The Crafty, on screen now. There'll be a video for The Crafty coming up on screen just in a second, so please do click it and why not subscribe too. But as always, thanks for watching. Check out some more videos on screen right now. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to Top 10s.